Hi, friends. What does your organization do when pressure hits? Welcome back to the Achieve Intentional Transformation podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Leonie H. Mattison. And if this is the first time that you've joined the program, welcome. Welcome to our community. And just know that I do appreciate you gracing us with your presence, your time, and your contributions. It is always a gift with this community, so thank you. Today, I want to offer you a way of seeing the pattern beneath urgency, silence, and organizational breakdown. Because, my friends, pressure does not only test a leader's strategy. Pressure reveals the system. It also reveals what people reach for first. It reveals what the culture protects. It also reveals what the organization avoids. And I know many of you will agree with me when I say that it also reveals whether the response moves people forward or traps everyone in another cycle of breakdown, right? So today, as you listen, I want you to keep one question close to mind, and that is, when pressure hits, what pattern takes over? So think about that for a moment. So let me start with something interesting that happened to me recently, and it has stayed with me longer than I expected. So recently I was moving through a full day carrying the usual mix of responsibility, decisions, and quiet pressure when someone invited me to pause. And in that pause, they also invited me to reach for 4 things. And the 4 things that I reached for were, I have them with me here today, an umbrella, a pair of sunglasses, a Bible, and a sweater. That was it. Nothing dramatic. But I paid curious attention, and it got me thinking how sometimes the system speaks before the data does. Sometimes the truth does not arrive as a report, a dashboard, or a strategic plan. Sometimes the truth arrives in the hands. It could be an umbrella, it could be even the rain, it could be the sunglasses or the glare, it could be grounding or a sweater, right? It could be warmth or the sweater, either or. My point is, I'd like to encourage everyone to pay attention to what's going on around you. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I am a New Yorker. I'm a Jamaican by birth, but I grew up in New York City, and I love the Yankees. I am a big fan. And yes, let me be transparent. I do not always understand every technical details of baseball strategy. I can admit to that. But I do understand pattern. I understand pressure. I understand what happens when a team, a leader, or an organization keeps swinging hard, but still needs to really study where contact is actually being made. And so I kept thinking about the Yankees torpedo bat. Have you ever heard of that? Not Babe Ruth's bat, no, the redesign bat. The one that got everyone talking of after the Yankee actually opened the 2025 season with the historic home run surge. You remember that? Oh, it was an amazing moment. But the lesson is not get a new tool and everything changes. No, that is just too shallow. From my perspective, the deeper lesson is this. Someone studied where contact was actually being made. They looked at the pattern. They moved the weight. I suspect that they redesigned the actual instrument, the bat. And from my perspective, that is leadership. And to take it a little bit further, it's an example of organizational redesign and transformation. Sometimes, my friends, the issue is that people are swinging hard. And what I mean by that, they're showing up, they are working, they are carrying pressure, even though it may seem and sometimes it's unannounced, but the weight is in the wrong place. Why? Because the structure is misaligned. And most often than not, the process misses the real point of contact. Sometimes the strategy sounds right, but does not meet the lived conditions of the people doing the work. You know what I'm talking about? Raise your hands. And this is where organizational development insight comes into play, my friends. Transformation is really one dramatic intervention. More often, it is a careful redesign of the point of contact between people, pressure, purpose, and performance. So before you blame the swing, ouch, I invite you to study the field. Before you blame the people, study the conditions. Before you chase novelty, understand the pattern. Take some time to understand the pattern. Because many of us know that a new tool can help. Yes, AI is a great partner. When it's a great partner. But a new tool without deeper awareness becomes another performance of change. And that is very costly to many organizations. And that brings us to the focus of today's episode. Your ability as a leader to see the pattern beneath urgency, silence, and organizational breakdown is critical, especially in this moment of transitions, disruptions, and more. And so I thought, this is leadership. This is organizational transformation era that we're in. And this is what it means to really receive the unspoken message a moment is trying to send to all of us as leaders. And so in my conversation with my 4 friends, I started asking them, why did you show up? What am I supposed to learn from your appearance? Could the sunglasses be a message? The light is too short? What is distorting the sight? Maybe the Bible was saying, Leonie, return to what is true before you decide what is next. Or maybe the sweater is saying, oh, stay. Something has gone cold, Leonie, and warmth is required for movement. Maybe it's time for you to pause for a moment and notice what has been showing up lately. What is your organization's pattern or pressure? What is it really saying that you're not hearing? Are you listening? Because the message does not always come loudly, my friends. Sometimes it may come through the meeting that ends with everyone nodding but no one believing. It may come through the decision that keeps getting delayed. It may come through the talented person who has gone quiet. Or maybe it may come through the team that is tired or pretending the strategy is clear. Or for some of you, maybe it's coming through your own body when you leave the room and realize you're carrying more than the agenda named. And that one will preach to all of us by itself, right? My friends, sometimes your body reads the room before your calendar admits that the day has cost you. Pay attention. Because you can only give what you have to release. So as I thought about those 4 objects, I could not help but think about the part senior leaders often know but rarely say out loud. And what I mean by that, you can feel when a room has gone cold. You can feel when people are smiling around the wound. I know for many of them, I've heard from many of you, you can feel when urgency is really anxiety wearing a better suit. Or maybe for you, you're feeling that the organization keeps asking for transformation while protecting the pattern that created the pressure and or the problem. And there's real work to be done there. Because my friends, pressure always reveals a pattern. Some systems blame, some systems freeze, and I have seen many systems try to overmeet the moment. Some systems perform confident and ultimately break under pressure. Some systems sacrifice truth to preserve comfort. Where are you in this moment? Are you moving so your organization and its people never feel what is really breaking? And so the question is never only, what is our strategy? I invite all of you to think a little bit more, maybe a little bit deeper, to a question that challenge you to think, when pressure hits, what patterns take over? What truth does that pattern actually reveal? And is it moving people and the organization forward, or trapping everyone in another cycle of breakdown? That question matters now more than ever before, because most breakdowns do not begin as breakdowns. I say that because I've seen where it begin as tolerated patterns. And it looks something like a delayed conversation, a protected personality, a process everyone walks around. Or maybe you've seen a decision nobody owns. Or maybe in your organization is the culture where people are rewarded for surviving dysfunction instead of redesigning it. Where are you in this moment? And so I invite all of us as leaders to become more than decision makers. I'm inviting you to become pattern reader. That's the shift I'm inviting you into today. Are you ready? So let's bring today's focus directly into practice. As I mentioned earlier, my focus for us today is to really start seeing the pattern beneath urgency, silence, and organizational breakdown when leaders need more than awareness. So how do we do that? Right? What is the way for you to respond when everything around you feels like it's falling apart? Here are 3 things that leaders can do right now when pressure hits and a pattern begins to emerge. And as I said, I'm outside, so my little friends are just crawling all over me. Number 1, name the pattern without blaming the people. I invite you to use your courage to say what you are seeing, not as an accusation, as a leadership observation. So no blaming, no shaming, no complaining. Maybe for you, you may have to say something like, I notice we keep delaying this decision. And go a little bit further and ask, what are we protecting? Or maybe it's you notice that you're moving fast, but you're not sure if everyone is aligned. So ask, what have we not said yet? Or maybe for you, you notice that the room gets quiet when a certain topic comes up. Maybe ask, what truth needs more safety before it can be spoken? This matters, leaders, because blame creates defense. Naming create awareness. And awareness, my friends, is where transformation always begins. So here's the breakdown. The first honest sentence can change the temperature of the room. Now, it's not a magic. I'm not promising you magic here at all. But just know that the right sentence does not have to attack anyone. It simply has to stop participating in pretending everything is okay. Number 2, I want you to locate the real point of contact. Do not assume the problem is where the noise is, because sometimes the loudest conflict may be the deepest issue. Other times it might be the missed deadline. It's not always about time management. Sometimes it could mean that the team is really disengaged and may not be resisting change. Maybe they're just tired. And so I invite leaders to ask, where is the pressure actually landing? Where are people carrying weight the structure was supposed to hold? You may even want to ask, where are we asking for performance without creating the conditions for alignment? My friends, that is where the redesign begins. Because what I have found is that sometimes the leader keeps pushing harder on the message when the real problem is the operating model. I have also seen where at times as leaders, we keep asking for clarity when the real problem is governance. There are also instances where I've led an organization and sometimes the organization kept launching new initiatives when the real problem was trust. And sometimes, and let us be honest here, we call it resistance because it sounds better than admitting the redesign is exhausting our people. Pay attention. Third, make one aligned move, not 10 initiatives, not another meeting about the meeting. Please, those meetings for the meetings of the meeting. One move, a conversation maybe that has been delayed. Have it. Maybe it's a decision that ends ambiguity or a boundary that protects the future. Or maybe for you, it's a repair that restores trust and it's time. Or a question that lets the room breathe again. And I talked about this before. A redesign that moves the weight closer to where the real work happens is always a win for the leader, their team, and the organization, and ultimately the people that you serve. The breakdown is this: transformation does not always start with scale. Sometimes it starts with precision. One honest move, one courageous conversation or a sentence, one shift in structure, one repair, one new agreement, one decision that tells the system we are no longer repeating this pattern unconsciously. That, my friends, is leadership. And we need that now more than ever before. I've been thinking a lot about how this is where I usually reach for and encourage leaders to reach for a thread practice, because the thread slows us down enough to see what is connected, what is freeing, what is tangled. So go over to the other videos on my YouTube channel and check out the thread system and take some time to figure out which thread you need in this moment. Is it that you need to think deeply, harvest wisdom, release patterns, enlist allies, adopt change, or design for wholeness and coherence? right? I also want to encourage all of you to pay attention to what's going on around you, what's going on in you. Pay attention to your dreams. The answers might just live there. Pay attention. When the sweater showed up for me, I just started asking, Leonie, where has the system gone cold? And that one question empowered me to really start paying attention and to look. And that is how transformation begins. Not with noise, not with panic, not with another performance or urgency. It begins with a leader's willingness to read the moment, to pay attention, whether it's an umbrella, a sunglasses, a Bible, or a sweater. They were 4 ordinary objects for me, but maybe there are objects around you that has the answer to what you're looking for. Maybe it's one quiet invitation today to see the pattern, tell the truth, warm the system, and move differently as you venture into intentional transformation for yourself as a leader, for your team and the organization, and ultimately for the people that you serve. And that brings us back to where we began today. What does your organization do when pressure hits? What do you do as a leader when pressure hits? Do you rush? Do you freeze? Do you blame? Does your organization tend to try to perform or outperform confidence? Does it go silent? Does it protect comfort? Or does it pause long enough to see the pattern beneath the pressure? That, my friends, that is the work of intentional transformation. It's work. It is work. And sometimes it gets messy. But noticing what is emerging is such a gift to all leaders. So may you name what is true, redesign what no longer carries the weight, and I encourage you to make one aligned move that helps your people, the organization, and those you exist to serve, for everyone to move forward together. Thank you so much for spending this time with me on Achieve Intentional Transformation podcast. I'm going to go home today. So if this conversation met you in a place where life or your team or organization is carrying pressure, I invite you to stay connected. You can always reach out to me if you're an individual leader, if you're a team, or if you are looking for organizational transformation support. Please connect with me at www.leoniemadison.com. May you have a beautiful rest of the day, the week, the month, the year. Take care. Take care. Take really good care of yourself. And again, this is Dr. Leonie H. Madison. Until next time, pay attention to what is being placed in your hands. Pay attention. The ordinary may be trying to tell you something extraordinary that you need to hear in this moment, so that when pressure hits, you will remember to see the pattern, tell the truth, warm the system, and move forward differently. Thank you, my friends.